Hello there everyone, Joel here in the editing booth, and before this podcast starts I want to tell you that this is not the full podcast. I have actually cut about over 30 minutes out of this YouTube version of the podcast. If you want to go and listen to the full podcast, then go along to our website, devondice.co.uk, and you can download and listen to it there, or you can go to any podcast platform and listen to the full about 1 hour 40 minutes of it there. So on this video I just got the nitty gritty of board game stuff going on. So, or check more out, go along to our website or go along to any platform that hosts podcasts and look for our podcast there. Also, at the beginning I just want to say this podcast was recorded via using my hotspot on my phone because my internet decided to give up just as we were about to record. So I was using that to record, and then halfway through the recording my phone died, and then I was using the internet. It was about 200 meters away, so it was a bit glitchy. It's not the best, but I've done the best I can to clean it up. So please hang in there. There's some good content in there, and my special guest Justin did take time out of his day to come along and record it. So please sit back and enjoy this YouTube podcast version. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Welcome, dear listeners. This is episode 77 of the Devon Dice Podcast, recorded on the 1st of April 2020. And no, this is not an April Fool's. I am your host, Joel Wright, and joining me tonight is our first special guest of this lockdown series. His name is Justin Smith, aka On Your Six, and he is the host of Last Save Loaded podcast. Hello, Justin.
Well, one of the hosts. I have to drop that in before someone says, aren't there two of you that do it? Hi, Joel. How's things going?
Yes, and you might actually recall this is not his first time being on the podcast. This is his second time.
Several months ago. I think
years ago. I think.
Yeah, well, it was before GridCon where we played a few games, and you were there doing wearing your big hats, your cow hat and stuff. Yeah,
I think is that the first time we've met at GridCon?
I don't know if we met at Expo at some point, because obviously everyone goes there, but yeah. Don't know, it's certainly one of those moments where you see this little chap with this outrageous hat, and you hear the voice and you go, I know who that is.
I did have to look down at your badge and say, who's this guy again? Oh yeah, it's Justin. Hi, Justin. But so yes, first guest on. It took a while to get him on, and he's not the first choice as well.
My availability has been a bit strange over the last couple of days because you were like, can you do Monday? No. Can you do Tuesday? Not really.
No. Whenever you think everyone's working from home, this guy is still going to the office.
I was working from home on Monday, but because it was my first day back after having a week off, if you can call it going back to work when I literally just came downstairs, I logged on at 20 to 8 or something like that in the morning. I logged off at 20 past 8 at night for a couple of hours of dinner and relaxation, and then I logged back on at 11 to do a project for a customer and went to bed at 12:30. And then, yes, Tuesday and Wednesday I've been in the office. I did 12 hours yesterday, and I had a quieter day today. I went in late, but I still was the last person to lock up the building. But tomorrow, back at home, and I'm not just shirking the commute ban for the sake of it, even though I only work 4 minutes away from where I live. It's down to being responsible, and can you genuinely do what you're trying to do from home or from the office? So I work in a place that builds and manufactures car park ticket machines. I don't get involved in that side of it, but I I sort of do all the invoicing for engineer attendance when someone sticks a firework in a machine and blows it up and things like that. So there is a lot of once a month, a lot of invoicing that has to get done that I'm not going to sit at home and do because it can't be done here. I need access to stuff in the office, and that's why I was there. But it'll be a business as usual from home tomorrow. I think I saw someone posting something yesterday and they were saying you're not working from home, you're at home trying to work.
Yeah, that's kind of how it feels from me. I mean,
it's one of these ones where when you do go outside, you still see fair few people walking about. It's not like it's a complete ghost town, although you're a bit more rural than me. So
yeah,
you perhaps do have it a bit quieter down there, but it's definitely strange just going into the local shop and seeing like tape down every 2 meters to don't step forward until someone's moved out of it, and people have got to do what they got to do, and
that's it.
We can moan about it, or we can just get on with it and go, I'd rather be safe and do my best to make sure everyone else is safe.
Yeah, I mean, I think we went into isolation because we thought our son had it, and so we hadn't been out for like over about a week and a half until we ran out of milk. And I was like, I'm going to take a trip down the shops. He didn't have it. We think he had tonsillitis. But he was running a temperature. So I went down there and I walked down to the shops and I was just like, this is really eerie. This literally feels like a ghost town. And walked into the local co-op and had to wait 5 minutes while some guy was trying to pick which red wine he wanted right next to the milk section. I was like, come on, guy, pick some red wine. It's all the same. I need some milk. Get out the way, kind of thing. But no. And finally he did move. And so I'm actually quite privileged that our shop actually has got milk and bread. And I still hear there's scarcity around the city supermarkets everywhere. So that's COVID talk over with.
Until you have your next guest on.
That's it. What was the last physical game you actually played? Like physical game with friends around a table?
I've been trying to think, and the last physical game I played was 2 weeks ago. So it was after we'd been suggested not to go to restaurants and bars because our Swindon board game group was on a Monday night meetup, and rather than go to the pub we normally go to, 3 of us just said, hey, should we all turn up at one of our houses? And I played Kanban for the first time.
Oh yeah,
I was looking forward. I was looking forward to it, and having played several other sort of heavy games recently, like On Mars and things like that, I was looking forward to getting something new into my brain. The problem I had with it is the guy that owned the game and brings the game, he has played it before, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of these guys that he doesn't so much go, I know how to play the game, therefore I'm either going to completely hamstring myself as a challenge, or I'm going to tell you, yeah, you should really be doing that. He's one of these people that, well, I'm going to tell you how to do the game, and then if you've forgotten that I'm going to take all these things as the best ways to win and happen to win by 50 points, that's not my problem. I told you it was there. And, you know, you can accept if there's 3 of you learning for the first time and one of you that's going to do that, you're playing for second at this point. But I was quite a strong 4th out of 4. I very much tried to corner the market on a specific, I guess you'd call it a tech tree, because there's the 4 or 5 different bits you can invest in, and how you get all your parts and chassis and stuff. And yeah, he went all in on chassis right at the start, maxed out all the costings of it, and it got to the end and he was like, yes, I've just because I've got all of these, I've got an extra 50 odd points. And I was like, oh, I've got 2. And, you know, and I think I felt lucky to have that too. But even the other people on the table had kind of spread their points around, and I'd just gone really heavily into something that didn't actually get me any points at the end of the game.
I mean, it's a while ago since I played it, and always remember I kind of built myself up to grab the first car that came out of the of the machine and went round the track, and I think that really paid off. Well, I kind of just focused. I could see what was coming out, so I made sure it's like you got to buy blueprints and you got to buy the parts and bits like that, and I had all that ready for when it came out of the factory. I was like, right, grab, that's mine, and then I think that kind of helped me win the game. But I mean, Jesus, I'm going back a good few years now.
I didn't think it was that old.
It is. I believe it's about. I think it's a while, because they got the brand new version on that's just been on Kickstarter, haven't they?
That's the one I was playing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But it's only just been on Kickstarter.
Hang on. I'm going to quickly look it up.
Go on, you quickly look it up.
Problem is, when you type in Kanban, it comes up with how to use Kanban software. Because it's an actual process. That's what the game's kind of used for.
Right. Yes. It's a factory process, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kanban Automotive Revolution. Oh no, you're right. This is a web page from 2016 saying with a review of it. So it has been out for a while.
Yeah, with the yellow car on the front, the driver's edition.
No, I was playing with the red car on the front.
Oh.
The one for Kickstarter looks like it's got a white box.
Yeah.
Featuring all new artwork. But no, it's definitely the older version and new model cars and stuff. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the one I'm thinking of, and
yeah. Well, I'd been looking forward to playing it. I'd not played it before, and I went all in on something that backfired. So it's always humbling when you do that.
Yeah.
You see, no one's doing this. I must know something they don't know. They know something I don't. That's what it is. They're just looking at me going, you're really, really convinced that getting all those chairs at the board is useful, but if you haven't got anything to actually buy when you get there, that's not going to help you.
That's it. Did you play with the nasty rules? With nasty signs?
No, or when you have like good or nasty, we played with the good one.
Okay.
So if you had at least two things, you got extra stuff, but it only ever amounted to like 1 point here and there. Yeah, so that's when the inspector ends up on the section that you've chose to operate in. If you've got either you have to have at least two of something, or if you've got less than two or fewer, then she docks you points.
Did you say you played on Mars?
I've played on Mars a couple of times, like in the previous couple of weeks. So
how does that compare? Because I mean, that's the same designer. I mean, this is one of his. Is it the same designer? Yeah, Vital Lacerda. So yeah, the same designer. So how does it compare the two games? Are they? I know they're probably completely different, but
I can see similarities with the sense of like you're going round in circles and stuff like that. But I think I wanted to play on Mars, or at least try it, because it was on the table in several places at GridCon, and it's one of them things that you'd walk past and you'd see someone like knee deep in a game, and you think, oh, they look properly engrossed. And having so the first time both I and my friend played it, we were very much learning how to play it and trying to adapt the rules. And of course, my friend is still operating the mantra of, I'll tell you what to do, but I'm not going to assist you in getting there. And we sort of finished, and we saw all these points trickling at the end, and we're like, oh, okay, we've got a better understanding now of what we would do with it. And we both said, well, we'll give it another go now that we understand what we're doing. And I think I probably did worse on the second go, and it made me think afterwards, did I not like it, or am I just not necessarily into really heavy games? Because it is a heavy game, and you can be, well, I won't say you can be locked out of actions, but it's very easy if your opponents don't know what they're doing. It's very easy to corner the market on having lots of actions versus them going well, how can you do all that and I can't? And it's like, well, because I've got this combination of this and this and this. And I liked the way that you do the upgrades, and people can give you free upgrades because they want to use your abilities and things like that. But you're locked into what techs are picked up and what is available at the start of the game, and who takes them and stuff like that. I can see the appeal, but I don't think after playing it twice, I don't think I would rush out and buy it myself. It just didn't. It didn't seem fun. It seemed like a challenge. You know,
I can see
it was
what you
work.
mean.
That's what it comes down to.
If you want to exercise your brain, the old grey matter.
Yeah.
This will be that for your.
I felt it was too random, but my friend who owned the game said no, it's entirely not random at all. You don't understand what you're saying when you say that. I was like, but that's just how I see it. I didn't feel that I necessarily had any control over what choices I made, because other people took the spot first and went to where I wanted to go, or took the scientist that I wanted to hire, or took the building I wanted to build. And I kept thinking, well, I've got a card here which means I want to build this building, except that's not actually what that means. That means I want to do a different action, but my head was stuck in the concept of I need to do a building. And it just didn't necessarily seem obvious to me. And I guess you get that with every heavy game. Like, I remember a couple of years ago playing The Gallerist, and that was probably the heaviest game I'd played. And I finished it and I was like, yeah, I don't think I'll ever play that again. Because I just didn't like the fact that you could be elbowed out of your position, or locked out of doing what you really need to do. Because it's like trying to play Scythe and running out of money and then going, oh, but I need to pay money to do all the actions now. I can't do anything.
Yeah, I can understand that. I quite like The Gallows. It's been a while since I played it, but
it's one of these things that what it comes down to is it's not a bad game. It's just you have to know how to not screw yourself over. Well,
no.
what was your huge game that we played in downstairs at GridCon? The Legends of the Wild West, or
Western Legends.
Western Legends, yeah. I kind of had it right.
Yeah.
And you did it right there. You were teaching 4 people how to play the game, and we're all in completely different areas of the board. And you didn't go, yeah, you want to be doing this. You just kind of went, well, this is a way to get points. If you're in this area, you could probably do this or this or this or this.
Yeah.
You didn't go, and my suggestion is you do that one. You just went, well,
no, I do like to kind of like just put the carrot out there and just say that you could do this or you could do that. I think that kind of the natural teaching element kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a massive undertaking. 4 people, Western Legends.
With all the expansions.
With all the expansions. But anyway.
I was so hungry when we finished that game, because I was just going out for lunch when you sent me a message like, oh yeah, I've got space at the table if you want to come down. So it's like, oh, okay, how long is this going to take? 2 hours? No, 4.
Yeah. A bit optimistic with the time there.
It might have been if you didn't have to teach me after having just taught everyone else.
Yeah, you kind of came in when we were like probably in our second turn. It was like, right, Justin, you can take 2 turns in one go, which sounded a bit overkill, but it was a way for him to catch up. And then I had to teach everything to him as well.
It was good fun, though. I really enjoyed that.
So
what was your last game on the table?
Well, I mean, I've got a family, and I force them to play board games against their will. But anyway, the last one we played is Stop Thief. The old classic, but redone by Restoration Games.
Okay.
Now, I just brought this because Christoph at Meeple's Corner is still open online, so you can still order games from him. So I ordered a couple, and I ordered this and Horrified, and this got played as soon as it came through the door, and I played it with the missus and the boy, and I gave him the option to either play it cooperatively or competitively, and he went with competitive, which we started off as competitive, but it kind of just turned into a co-op of helping him win. In the the missus like, I thought we were meant to be against each other. I was like, yeah, that's how he wanted it, but we were kind of like held him out in the end. But then we did play a game of competitiveness afterwards because he wanted to play again.
Yeah.
So we went cooperatively afterwards, and so we did do it like that. And it's a really good game. I was like, this is really good, but there's a lot to think about. I don't know. Have you played it? Have you seen it?
If I've played it, I haven't played it for a long time. What you're saying though about like simple games can be a lot of fun. Yeah, I had a many games last year or the year before playing just some little 2-player card game, and it was just about like picking mushrooms.
Yep.
And it was so basic, but the tactics between like, well, there's only 4 of this set, and I know if I let you get that one, you're going to go balls deep on it, and you're going to win the game. Yep. So I've got to take one just to stop you taking it. But then I've taken one, so you're not going to take them. And yeah, you can think about these things all day, or you can just go, let's just have fun.
Yes. So Stop Thief is a app-based game. I don't know how they did it when it came out in the 80s. Or whenever it came out first time. Must have had a little machine that came with it. But it is just a board with a lot of numbers on it, and then a couple of decks of cards. One of them is just money. And if you're playing cooperatively, you start off with like a bank reserve of 50,000, and you're working together to catch the Atlantic 7, which is a gang. No rift of any movie genre that's out there at the minute. And
if you're interested, there's currently a copy of the 1985 Spears game on eBay at £7.50.
Oh. You play the app, and the app basically does the hidden movement, a bit like kind of what is it? Letters of Whitechapel.
Yeah, Fury of Dracula, all that sort of thing. One person, the computer is the guy that's trying to get away. And you play it and you say, right, play me the next clue, and it be some kind of sound, and you've got to give you a kind of starting point, but you're not quite sure, and you've got to look at the sounds, and then you kind of got to work out, okay, so if he's making that sound, he's either gone this way, or he could have gone this way, could have started here, and you're looking at this map kind of reference grid. So have you got the new one that's kind of like got the 3D-ified map? It looks like you got the green, red, blue and yellow buildings around, and a car park roundabout in the middle.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, so the original one had it kind of came with like a calculator,
right?
Electronic Cops and Robbers it was, and there's all these like wanted signs around it. But the board is much the same. They obviously just tightened it up, and it had dice and stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same. Yeah, it's still got the metro subway in the middle and probably on the corners. But I mean, like this one, the old one is like square and spaces. If you look at the new one, it's like lots of little circles and random. There's like paths you can only go on it, so which makes it even more challenging because like the thief can go through windows and things like that, and you can only follow the footsteps and go through doors and things. So it's just like, he's gone through the window, now we've got to go all the way around the building to go and find him again, kind of thing. But each each Atlantic 7 has like an ability. So if they're out and about, not being caught yet, the ability might go off. Say if they go for a window, they go 2 more spaces, and you don't know where that could be, or I'm trying to think now off my head, or if the sabotage stops you using the metro system, and things like that. So when they're active, it kind of hinders your progress, kind of thing. I mean, the last one we got, the one that pretty much killed us, or not killed us, but lost us all our money, was one that none of our abilities on our cards work. So it uses a card system where you play a card and it says how many spaces you can go, but then it also might give you a little action ability to do as well. And that rendered all our action abilities useless. Which really made it difficult, except for the only action we could use was the one to be able to take all our cards back in our hand.
Right.
So, that really screwed us, especially when they use the metro, and that metro can go to 4 different points on the board in really spaced out areas. So it's just like...
Kind of like on Flashpoint using the fire truck.
Yes. Yeah, in that kind of sense, and but you mean you got to think about this board is because like usually you can get a clue, and you can ask for a clue, and it'll give you the first letter of the area they're in. But because now your actions are being rendered useless, you can't get that clue. So now you're just like you're shooting in the dark basically.
Yeah.
Well, they've used the metro; they could come out at 4 different points, and it's just like this is ridiculous, and that's what killed us. So, I mean, really, this kind of lockdown situation is like a designer's dream, really, because now they can just sit down and design everything, get everything ready, and then as soon as we're allowed back out again, it's like, right, play my games, play this, need to test it, kind of thing.
But if you were at the point where you had a demo ready to go, you can't like collar people in the pub and say, hey, can you, pick a card, any card.
Well, you could see if you can get it put up onto a Tabletopia or Tabletop Simulator.
That is Frostgrave, I think, is just going on to one of them, and that's on Kickstarter. Tabletop Simulator. It's on. No, I'll tell you what I'm thinking of. Inside the Box Games have they've launched their Aquanauts, and they've got that on Tabletopia.
They do, yeah. So
while the game is available to back.
Episode, and and it's actually gone out onto Tabletopia. So if you've got an account, or even if you don't have an account, you can play 2-player. You can try out their Aquanauts, not the cartoon version you can find on CBeebies, but the adult version of exploring the sea and building research departments under the sea. I like the way you giggled. You actually knew what I was talking about.
I was just thinking the segue. It's like you've done this before.
We next up is talking about what we've been playing on Tabletopia or Tabletop Simulator, which done a bit of both.
I've had 2 games of Scythe on Tabletopia. One game with 2 of us just not, getting the free client version, where Scythe will say you can play as a 2-player, but you're locked to 2 specific factions, so it picks them for you.
Okay, right.
But it gives you the full experience just as a 2-player.
Right.
Or you can pay for bronze membership and just basically back it for a month, and it unlocks premium for one of you. You can then host the game at up to 5 players, or you can many other games, and people such as me who hadn't backed it could then just go into your lobby and be one of your 5 players. So you don't need to all have the higher tier,
which is nice. You just got to rely on that person that's got the higher tier to be on. And organising it was fun, and it has a Discord app integration on the website, because it's not an app itself, it's all in browser, and it does it really well.
but we decided that we'd get together on Skype, which meant one person trying to install Skype on her phone and then not realising that we weren't on video chat. We just wanted to talk to her. And then the most clunky thing about Tabletopia is finding the specific game room you're after. Because if you just go to pick a game, it's constantly juggling things up and down as people are starting games and closing games, and you can be about to click something and then you find it's already moved.
All right.
But if someone does set up a game room, they can send you an invite, except that every time we tried sending invites, it kept saying that player does not exist. And in the end, we had to kind of go, look, this is my game lobby code. Type this in to the search button. And then it was like, okay, yeah, it's let me in, but because it's so busy at the moment, it's having some integration issues. And like when we were trying to change player count, we worked out in the end that you had to effectively refresh the room for it to acknowledge that you were changing the settings. But in order to convince ourselves that a 3-player would work, we opened a lobby into Reavers of Midgard, and so I could show them this is how you roll dice and this is how you pick up cards and stuff like that, and that all worked very well. So although we didn't really play the game, we got to see the board with all the pieces out, and I could show them, yeah, this is how you need to put things in these places. So they're already looking at Friday night, arranging something else, maybe playing a different game, because I'm not doing so well on Scythe at the moment. I must be too tired from all this work. But you've had experience with Tabletop Simulator as well.
Yeah, so I mean, from the last podcast we did play Clank, and that worked very well. It's a very good scripted one. There was a couple of things that wasn't working very well, but I have now found a better version that's got those things working, I believe. And then I joined up with Christoph at Meeple's Corner and Dave, and we played Azul.
Yeah,
on there,
the stained glass window thing.
Well, not that one. The very first one, the tile, bathroom tile kind of.
Oh yeah.
No,
I was thinking of Sagrada for a minute, but yes, there's two versions of Azul, isn't there? There's a red box and a blue box, or no, yellowy one.
Yeah,
I
believe. And that actually works very well because, like, unlike in Clank, you're moving the camera around everywhere so you can see what's going on the board and back to your cards and things like that. In Azul, you can kind of just sit over the top of the table and you can see what's going on. You can see what's on the table. You just grab what you want, stick it in on your mat, and it's got there is some locking in going in as well. So there's some set places. And it was actually very well scripted, and I think Chris is putting a spreadsheet together of scripted games that work very well. And then we can add our own if we come across one, add it in that. So it actually was quite nice. It actually played really quickly. It took a bit of while trying to figure out what do we do, and because you get these little miniature bins next to your board, so the tiles that don't get put onto the area of the board, you grab and chuck it into the bin. But it automatically recycles all those that get put into the bins for when it runs out of tiles to set up the next round. So it's quite good. It's well scripted like that. So no real kind of messing around and spreadsheeting kind of things going on. It does quite a lot of it for yourself. You just got to do the scoring yourself. And then we played Shards of Affinity afterwards, which was an actual pain in the ass to try and get back into that lobby. So it took at least about 20 minutes trying to get back into Chris's lobby. Do
you think that's just internet cranking from everyone trying to do everything remotely, or do you think it was actually Tabletop Simulator being hit with more demand than it is normally used to?
Well, this is what I'm wondering, whether there's a bit of everything going on, because like even like internet lines. I mean, mine's probably not the best for where I live, but like Clank was no problem. We played. I mean, Lewis was getting kicked out quite a few times, but he just came back in again and picked up where he left off. But like this, I think we lost our Azul game. Well, we all got kicked out of Azul, but we all got shoved back in again for some reason. And then when we came out of Azul and went to go and do the other one, I just couldn't get back into lobby. I was just like, and it was really weird because like usually it brings up a list of like server games on it, and you kind of can search for the one you want, or just pick one if there's an open one and go through that. But it wasn't bringing anything up, and so then I was typing in the name of the room that I was meant to be in, and it would just kind of flash really briefly on the screen, like if you blinked you missed it kind of thing. So then I was just clicking in the area it should be, and then luckily hit it and got it, and then got into a completely different room of like One Night Werewolf with these weird random people. I was like, what is going on here?
That does sound like a bit of a surprise if that's not what you were expecting to happen.
No,
like,
I was just like,
this
yes,
is completely not the right thing.
Yeah. I go. Yes, I'm in. No, I'm not. Where am I? It's saying.
Well, it would have been worse if you'd have gone, "It's me. I am the werewolf."
Yeah.
I just turned up to tell you that.
So yeah, I was booted out of that, and then I spent another 10 minutes trying to get back in. And I was doing the same thing, typing it in, right, click. Oh, still can't get in. But finally got in, played a game. Actually, again, there was no script into this at all, so it was all kind of manual doing it. But it was still good, quite a good little game to play on Tabletop Simulator. So
well, you said about the like things locking into place. This is one of the things that when we launch Scythe, when you launch any game with Tabletopia, all the pieces are all laid out in neat lines, and it all looks great. And you can use your little mouse cursor, which resembles a hand, for the colour player it's allocated you. So when there's 3 of you, there's 3 different hands moving around the place. So you can start seeing when someone's hand goes near your player board, and you can start like just wondering, like, going, "Get away from my pieces." Like you've seen the Scythe physical game. All the player boards are all recessed to have like blocks and pieces fitted into them. And it does the same in Tabletopia. You have things that are locked into those boards, and it's got very good physics to it. So things have like gravity is a thing, and once you start putting pieces into a tile on the board, and you start going, okay, I need to put 3 mechs into the same place. I haven't got any room to do it, and you've got to start like dragging things out of the way to then try and go, okay, how am I going to fit all this in there? So we had a moment where my friend had all of her workers in a forest, and she went, right, I want to do a produce on that tile. Can someone help me by getting me like 8 bits of wood? Okay, so I go off into the corner and sort of just grab all this wood across, and I said, right, there's only one way this is going to work. And she went, you're not just going to drop them into the tile. And I was like, it's raining wood. And just dropped. I buried her hero unit in wood. But considering these services are there, you know, they're helping bring people together through social distancing. And, you know, Skype, when it started becoming a big thing, made the world smaller.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's so many rivals to it. You got your Google Chat, you got your Discords and WhatsApps and whatnot. It's just strange to think how we would have coped even 10 years ago. I mean, God, we'd be on 15 years. We'd be on dial-up broadband.
Yeah. Well, I did say to my in-laws, they were having a chat, and I was like, Jesus, if this happened when we were like in the 80s, round about when if I had the age of my kids, I don't know, there'd be uproar. It'd be like parents would be, what are we meant to do with them? what we're meant to do with school. There was no internet then.
There'd be a big trade in Monopoly, and they just go, start one game, and by the summer you will have finished it.
Yeah. Oh, I had all that. I had a cupboard full of games. That was back then. But they were all like the commercial ones.
My favourite board game from my childhood was the Thunder Road.
Ooh.
You know, let's not call it Mad Max 2 because there's copyright infringement, but let's have the helicopter and the cars that look suspiciously like the Interceptors, and let's have the trucks.
My one,
and the buggies.
I've still got it actually. Skull and Crossbones.
Oh yeah, nice.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah, VCR tape with a big ugly pirate on it that insults you every time he pops up. So, it's a great game.
Yeah, that was in the days of things like Atmosphere being popular.
Yeah, had that as well. So yeah, there was a Star Trek one, wasn't there? I don't know actually. Maybe I'm making that up.
I certainly didn't see one, but that doesn't mean it didn't.
I'm sure. I was like, when I was listening to a podcast many, many years ago, I swear they were talking about like these VCR games, and there was a Star Trek one, but maybe I was imagining it. I don't know. Weird things I think of. Anyway,
for you younger listeners, VCRs are what we had before DVDs.
What's a DVD?
Before you just downloaded it all.
Yeah. Or just streamed it. You have to get a tape out. The other thing I've actually been playing, and it's talking of apps, actually, I've been playing the Charterstone digital app. Now, I've actually been on the second wave beta testing for this, so I've been playing it probably a month before everyone else.
Right.
And boy, it's really good in the way they brought this board game onto the app, but I still have not finished a campaign, mainly because there's so many glitches and crashes with it. Now I think they've done a lot. They've done actually tons. There's no denying it. Every time someone brings anything up or spots in it, they fix it. New one comes out and fix it. But it's been a real struggle to even get through, I think, game 6 of it before I've hit a problem, and it's like, oh well, now it's the black player's turn, but he won't take his turn. He keeps just looking at me really weirdly and like refusing to take his turn. So now my game won't move on.
Right.
And that was my last glitch. And now I've started a new one because I've had a new update come out, I think, because of the actual release of it. Yeah. And I think I'm up to game 8 now. But yes, it's actually really good. If you've not played the board game, then this could be a good way of you experiencing the board game. The animation is great. So the animation is great. The flow of it is really good. I do wish they explain a few more. Like, it goes straight, like when it comes to the end game of the game you're playing, it comes to the end, it just goes straight into scoring, and it's like, this is what points you've got. It's like, how do I get those points? Kind of thing. Where did they come from? How did they beat me? But like the flow of it is just so easy. It does bring up the players whose turn it is, and down the bottom actually kind of gives you like a script of what action they've taken, what they've paid with, what they're getting back, and other bonuses they get. So you can, if you get quite used to following what they're doing and things like that. The AI is actually quite good. It's quite tough to beat. They do follow the rules. Like, so each game has a different objective, and the AI knows, well, like I think it's like the third game is like, don't get, or the person with the fewest achievements wins. So no one gets any achievements, which is weird. A weird objective to have for winning the game.
How does it work with the legacy side of it?
So that just keeps flowing over. So every time you finish a game, it scores you up. You get your stuff, and it says, "Do you want to score up now?" Or I can't remember. It gives you 3 options. Do you want to score up now, or just leave the game, or do you want to start the next game? You just go and start the next game, and it goes through the procedure of setting you up again, because you might have extra bonuses come up from what you've unlocked before, and then you just play on again with, like, it sets up the charters and gives you your stuff, and you go again playing. And I did actually think it glitched out again, because I'm playing with free AIs, and then I noticed the 2 charters that is not being used didn't get any new buildings added after the first game. So if there's no charters being used by players, you normally go through the deck of cards and find a building, and you just stick it in their place to keep them developing as the game goes on. But none of them got any. I was like, oh, it's glitched. It's not working. Then I realised, actually, there's no buildings in the deck. Is that everyone's taking all the buildings? So it's actually, no, okay, so that's fine. It's just me being stupid. But so yeah, it's actually, now this new latest version's come out and they've actually released it, because I really thought they made an announcement that they're going to release it like this. I think it was like the 25th of March.
Yeah.
And I was playing it just before that. I was like, it's still buggy.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're actually thinking they could release this, but they've released it and it seems to be working all right. So I have noticed a few people in the digital Charterstone Facebook saying, oh, this crashed here, this did that, and the developers said, okay, we've noted that down, we'll see what we can do, and they've I think even like they said, oh, do you want your money back, or things like that, and they're like, no, if you're going to sort it, let's carry on, kind of thing. So they're really hot on trying to get this sorted, and you got to admit there must be a ton of scripting going on in this. So it's going to be a game that's going to have like things that it won't be able to figure out, or crash, or like the
yeah, because to replicate some of it, you'd need to know like what upgrades people have been taking as they go.
Yeah, and even that, I mean, you've got to think like what would be the optimum for the AI to choose and select, kind of thing. Selecting a random card would not be optimum for a hard AI character. They need to know, okay, would a building be best for him to select, or would a assistant be best for him to select? So yeah, it does seem to be working, and even people that have noticed things like that have been brought in that to the attention of the developers and saying, yeah, you wouldn't select this card if you're playing this way, kind of thing. It doesn't seem right. Why would the AI do that? So yeah, maybe if you're interested, maybe give it a couple more weeks, see if they can iron out the creases. But
I must admit, I'm more, especially after what you've been saying, I'm more inclined to investigate the digital option over buying the box itself, the physical one, because I know people that have got it, and I'd be more inclined to just go and use someone else's copy than spend 40 quid on my own one that I'm going to, be changing it all the time.
Well, this is it. I mean, I've played it and I've completed a campaign, and I'm halfway through the second one on the back side. I don't think that'll ever get completed now. But I mean, it is playing exactly how the game would play, and each time. I mean, each game I've been playing, I've been doing different things. I've been picking different charters to play with, and doing different ways of doing it. And like each time it's coming out with like, oh, this building wasn't out last time, or oh, where's that building? I could really do with that building. But it all depends on what. Well, it's not what comes up, but it depends on what the AI character's doing. Yeah. So I actually kind of look forward to actually seeing if I can get together a group of people and actually playing it as a over the internet, too, which there is an option, I believe. I don't know if it's going to work with my test version, or I would have to get the actual app version to be able to do that. So, so yeah.
Stay tuned in future episodes for an update on this.
Yeah. Talking of Gloomhaven, we could go to Kickstarter and talk about Frosthaven.
Which is also on on these virtual Kickstarter virtual tabletops as well.
So quickly, I'll do a Kickstarter because I am gobsmacked, and like in this kind of climate and what is going on, that Frosthaven has now reached, in pounds, 4 million. Yeah, $5.5 million in American currency. And it's just like, okay, Gloomhaven was a big smash, it was a big success, and being a sequel to this, yeah, okay, I'm sure it's going to do well, but Jesus, like, we're in a pandemic situation, barely anyone is working, but it's just doing bonkers. It's like, wow, everyone's
just
crazy.
whilst you've been speaking, I've got the page open in the background. It went up and down and up, and now it's just gone back down again. So someone keeps trying to pledge to it, and either they can't back it, or as people are pledging, other people are dropping it.
Yeah, I've just noticed that as well. It's done exactly the same thing. It went up 200.
There it goes up again.
Yeah.
Maybe they just can't. Oh, let's keep going. Yeah, it's no, don't know, but it's so it's £403,903 is the target, and it's currently got 4,386,000. So it's 10 times over its target.
That's weird how it's going up and down.
But it's still got 29 days to go as well.
Literally, there's also the backers. The numbers go up one, down one, up one, down one. That's weird.
Yeah, it might just be having a nightmare and doesn't want to refresh properly.
It's probably having a cough. Anyway, so Frosthaven, pretty much similar to Gloomhaven, but in winter landscape. It's more or less the same, apart from 3 different things. And
its estimated delivery is in 1 year's time, to March 2021.
Oh yeah. So yeah, you're going to get pretty much the same, more or less. You're going to get different monsters and different scenery, and you get different starting characters, and then you're going to get 10 more unlockable characters after that. But then in this one, you get new in Frosthaven loot. So now when you fight or you do stuff, you draw cards up, and it gives you resources and stuff to use to make weapons and build buildings. That's right, in Frosthaven you now build buildings like you do in Civilization and other city building games. And then also you've now got 2 distinct seasons. You have a summer, which you start in, which pretty much plays out like Gloomhaven, which then turns to winter and things get dicey and eventful. So yeah, that's the new things Frosthaven brings to you.
So, just looking at the pledge levels, and the $240 pledge level for the Frosthaven bundle with the organizer, with the metal coins, like I say, $240, or for us in Britain, that's £194. 11,355 people have gone in at that level.
Yeah. That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Like you say, it's just people are... They've got to be confident that we're going to come out of this epidemic all right.
Well, there's going to be a lot of unclaimed packages waiting at people's doors. That's nasty to say. I do apologise. If anyone's suffered a fatality of that due to this virus, I really am sorry. But, I mean, this is a really serious thing that we're going through, and I'm not even looking at Kickstarter at the minute or things like that. It's just like kind of living for the now at the minute. I can't really think.
Well, let me read the wording for the $30 retailer pledge. This pledge is only for brick and mortar retail stores. This is a deposit which gives you access to a separate pledge manager with reduced prices to basically they'll be open for longer. So in other words, pay us $30 and we'll let you buy the game in bulk later.
Yeah. That'd be nice if everyone could do that.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about games retailers like Cool Mini or not. They have no need to do Kickstarter. And the whole point of Kickstarter was that it's supposed to be a platform for people to get an idea funded, not, hey, I want to make a game that I know will sell like hotcakes because the last one did. And, they don't have a business reason for doing it other than I want to be paid a year in advance.
Yeah. I know from what I heard that the first Gloomhaven just about covered, if anything, he didn't make enough money to cover the first printing.
Right.
So that's why they did the second printing, which got him more money, which was then just enough to cover that printing and the future printing after that, which then was when he started turning over a profit, I believe. That's how it worked. So there's no money in designing or even publishing, really, board games, unless you're like, I don't know, Fantasy Flight Games, who like bringing out expansions on top of the game.
Yeah, but then they make games like, they go, hey, here's Destiny. We're gonna sell you these booster boxes for £100 a time, and you're just going to buy them because you're addicted to buying things. You'll open them, find the rare things, and then try and sell everything else on. And then after a year or two, let's just go, we're not making any more of that now. That's a dead game.
Yeah.
Or Rune Wars. Let's create our own IP and try and sell it and realise, it's not selling. Okay, let's stop supporting that too.
Yeah.
I'm so jaded with them now.
At this point, I lost signal on my phone because it ran out of juice, and then I was working with a broadband signal that is about 100 metres away in my house, and so the conversation was a bit weird because I could barely understand what Justin was saying, and I think vice versa. So I was kind of trying to listen intently to what he had to say and having to wait for the pause or over talk him. So do bear with this and we'll get through it. As usually, I was going to say we do ideas of what people can do outside of, not outside, but in this lockdown period. So my thing I'm going to bring to get to the forefront is Audible. So listening to storybooks, which is the thing I do now. I don't really listen to podcasts anymore. I listen to stories, and actually, just today I was listening to a story that I've just started, and it's about time travel. And there's a character in there talking about he's coming from the future, and in his future there's a pandemic, flu-like plague or virus going around the planet, killing off lots of the population, especially the under. Basically, if you're 25 to 50, you're kind of safe. And I was like, whoa, this is quite close to the bone. This is. And then they also said,
you're not that old.
One of the symptoms was temperature and things like that. I was like, wow, it's like this story is quite a while old, and it was like, this is really quite something. And I'm trying to find the story now. I'm trying to bring my library up, but I'm now surfing on a internet signal that's like 200 meters away at the minute.
I am wondering how many. We've clearly got a bit of lag between us now. So I was just wondering how many people are aspiring writers at home that are going to create works of fiction in 6 months' time, all about epidemics and stuff like that.
Yes, definitely. Well, I'm waiting for the first TV series to come out, because I don't know if you saw the one that was on BBC a while ago called Cobra, where they were kind of doing like the government facing the crisis of power outage, and that was a really good, interesting series. And I'm wondering whether they could use the same people again, of how like the government using like the previous one, how they dealt with like this pandemic, Crisis, because I think that'd be quite interesting to see what happened behind the scenes.
Just wait 15 years and they'll get the crew that did Chernobyl to do one on this.
Oh, that would be good, actually, yes. That would be a good shout on that. I'm just trying to find the name of the book. What are you bringing to what that people can do? What did you mention? Did you say you're doing Disney Plus?
Oh, yes. I did. Disney Plus came out last week, and I have watched a lot of the Clone Wars animated series and I've watched it before. I've already seen The Mandalorian through other avenues that may or may not have been commercially available at the time. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Ooh, I have a parrot on my shoulder.
Right.
But yeah, it's I paid £50 for a year up front, and one of my friends from a board game group, she said, well, it gives you 4 sign-ins, doesn't it? So why don't we go halves on that and we get two of the sign-ins each? So yeah, I've effectively paid £25 for it. So get together with your friends if you can't be bothered to pay it for it up front, and pool your resources. Many people share Netflix passwords. Just do the same. Don't pay the big mouse too much money.
That's a good idea. I didn't realise you get 4 sign-ins.
Yeah, you can have four concurrent sign-ins, because the idea being that if you were to have it now, your partner and your kids could all be watching on different tablets or PC or PlayStation or whatever. Whereas in this case, I have one connected to my PlayStation here, and she's got one on the other side of town. And occasionally my friend who has his kids at home says, "Hey Justin, do you mind if I log into your account so we can watch the Marvel movie number 6 or something like that? As long as I'm not signed in for 2 hours, that's fine."
Yeah. But speaking of which, I mean, with all this crisis thing going on, and movies that were meant to come out in the cinema might possibly be looking at coming out on Disney Plus. What's her name? Black Widow movie was literally just around the corner coming out in the cinema until they all shut. So now they're actually thinking of airing it premiere on Disney Plus, which would probably convince me to get Disney Plus.
Well, they've unfortunately not got Frozen 2 on it, if that's what your children might be after, listeners, because they've already got a deal in place with Amazon that it's available on Amazon Prime until July or something like that. So yeah, it doesn't come to Disney Plus until July.
All right. Mulan might come to the real time.
I was looking forward to that because I have a Cineworld pass. They've actually sent us an email saying, we're going to take 1 month of charges from you because it was too late to do anything about it, but because all the cinemas are shut, we'll then give you a month's credit when we subsequently invite you back.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So yeah, I mean, I saw the trailer when I went to see Sonic with my boy, and I just watched it. I was like, that looks good to watch. I might have to go and watch that. And he actually agreed with me. So and that's another one they're thinking of bringing to Disney Plus as a premiere. So yeah, 2 hopefully, finger crossed, touch word, films coming straight to Disney Plus, which could inspire me to purchase a subscription to it.
Well, if you're intrigued to at least test it out and see what's in there, then we can have a chat offline sometime.
That sounds like a good chat offline. The book I was just listening to is called One Damn Thing After Another, The Chronicles of St. Mary's, Book 1, by Jodie Taylor.
That is a mouthful.
It was a mouthful, and it was actually a free title I downloaded. Was it a free title or was it cheap?
If it's on Audible, they're all free.
Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, with Audible, I pay a subscription of like £8 a month, and that usually gives me a credit to download a book. Sometimes they do deals, sometimes they do offers. There was a period where they were doing lots of stuff for free, which I downloaded a ton of it and got loads of books, and that actually led me to quite a good few titles. And I think this was like either it was free or it was cheap, like £3 to purchase or something like that. So yeah, Audible is good that way. If you stay a member, you get offers and things like that. And at first I wasn't really too sure about it, but then it took a long time to get going. And this one's it's all right actually. But I've been into these kind of time traveling and other things going on.
I had Audible a couple of years ago, and I distinctly remember listening to The Time Traveller's Wife on it.
Oh yeah.
So the audiobook for that is good. Might chuck that into your prospective basket.
I probably will do that. So yeah, another good series of books I've been listening to, and I've done them all now. It's like a wizard series or magic series. It's called, and it's basically think of Matrix, but with more humour and no messing around with stupid agents or the world falling apart around you. So it's kind of like these computer nerds discover that the world is just a computer program, and they can alter stuff and change it, like manipulate it to how they want it. And they all get themselves into trouble, so they all go back to medieval England, because then they can like use these powers of and make out they're just wizards, and people just think of them as wizards, and they're doing magic, and they live in medieval England trying to face off, and basically they make more problems for themselves because they mess around with stuff too much. But it's a really funny series, and there's about 6 books in it, and I really enjoyed them all. So the first one's Off to Be the Wizard, which is quite funny, by Scott Meyer. So yeah, that's what you can do else while you're all sat at home, not going anywhere, not doing anything.
Or working from home.
Or working from home. Or twiddling your thumbs. So yes, let's close this to a wrap, because I don't know how long my signal is going to last for. Thanks, Justin, for jumping on this podcast finally. Sorry,
it was a bit awkward to get going at first, but we're here, and we've been sat for long enough.
But yes, thanks for listening. Tune in for the next podcast of this lockdown series, and maybe, I don't know who the next guest will be, but I will be working on it as soon as I can. Check us out on all the social media platforms. You can find me at Depressed Monkey or at Devon Dice UK. And you can find Justin at...
I am at Year6, on Year 6 on Twitter, and you can, if you want to listen to something that is occasionally talking about board games and videos and things I've been watching, and other times talking about computer games and video games, then you can check out the Last Save Loaded podcast, which is the one that I am routinely speaking on.
Yeah, how many episodes have you done now?
So on Saturday we will be recording episode 339. So with an episode a week, then yeah, that's 7 years. I think, maybe. We were due to release like episode 350 around my birthday, and I don't know if that's going to tie up or not. We'll see.
Maybe I'll tune in for that one.
Well, my co-host Colin, he was talking about getting a guest on, because I was supposed to be in America, which clearly didn't happen. So, he then had an excuse to grumble at me because I'd ruined his plans by staying home to be able to talk to him.
Dad, you always ruin it for everyone, don't you?
Yeah, there's always one.
Never mind. I'm only kidding. Anyway, thanks for listening, and catch you all later.
Bye.